are great. We know that. Miracles are great. We love them. But they are not daily occurrences. Okay, these are not things that happen every day. God has set up a system for operation of stuff in this universe. And sometimes God he steps into the universe that he created to show that he's still in charge. So he does. He just steps in and says, I'm still in charge. I created everything. So I want things to remain in a certain way. Anything that is going to go contrary to my purpose, I take it down. Sometimes I step in and change it up for even the benefit of my children. If it's going to interrupt my purpose, I step in and make things work the right way. And so God sometimes steps in and interrupts the normal flow of things in the universe. And that's what we call a miracle when that happens. Some stubborn situations in your life, some stubborn situations around that try to mess up God's program, he comes in and says, nope, I'm going to do something different. Even though I've set up this system, I still decide what happens because I have a purpose. I have something great that I want to accomplish. And God demonstrates his power through miracles. He does. He does it. Sometimes it convinces people that God is God. Sometimes those miracles that he performs will get people to know, God is still God. And they believe in him. They put their hope in him. You think about what the Lord Jesus did when he would he performed a miracle. Guess what? Many people will put their faith in him. But sometimes people would remain as stubborn as they were before, and just carry on as if nothing happened, or they get the blessings from the Lord and just carry on. They don't even care. That's the problem. People remain hardened even after they've seen a powerful demonstration of the Lord in their lives or around them. They spurn the grace of God. They don't want to, they won't accept it. They don't change their minds. And I'm not trying to, miracles are important. As I said before, they're still very important. They're not always a cure-all. And I want to say that carefully. Miracles are not always a cure-all, but they're still very important. They're still necessary in the world today to recall our human attention to what God is doing, to whom God is, and to God's power, to draw our attention to the creator of the universe who often uses miracles to alleviate human suffering. Impossible situations, sets those aside. And God does solve some problems for us. Yes, by his miraculous interventions, he solves some of our problems. But here's the problem, though. After solving some of those problems, God tells us, okay, I've given you intelligence, I've given you power. Now I want you to go do the right thing and get on with the system that I have already created. I've solved the problem for you. I've reset, given you a reset in life. Now I want you to get up there, go do what I've asked you, what I've empowered you to do. We've got to exercise our rights. We've got to exercise the power that God has given to us to choose and to fix certain things by ourselves, to fix certain problems in our lives with the power, with the intelligence, with the choice that God has given to us. And here's the point, that for a lot of us, what matters is not always what matters. What is really important is not always the miracle itself, but the sustenance of the benefit of that miracle. That's what's very critical in our lives. Okay? We got to get that. What matters is not the miraculous healing. It is you sustaining the health. It's not the healing, but the health that you have. That's what's most important, right? How do you sustain the benefit of this miracle in your life? It's not a healing, but the health. It's not a miraculous provision. All of a sudden, the ravens came and they provided for me. They brought me everything I needed. But God says, no, I want you to get going. Keep moving. Go to the place where there's abundance. Because I don't do miracles every day. I do them, but not every day. So I want you to get up from here and go to the place of abundance where your needs will always be provided. How? How do we get to that place of abundance after the miracle? Because I said before, a miracle resets your situation and it gives you a chance to do something right again. Start doing something right consistently so that you can sustain the benefit of this miracle in your life. But unfortunately, people who have received a miracle, oftentimes, they soon return to the old lifestyle. They soon return to the place they were before that got them into the place where they needed a miracle in their lives. They will soon return to that lifestyle that landed them in trouble in the first place. Twice in the scriptures, we see the Lord talking about, just hinting at it. He talks about, you received your miracle now, but he gives him a parting message. Go and sin no more. Jesus came upon this invalid, this very sick guy. We don't know exactly what his problem was. Maybe he was paralyzed or just some other kind of sickness. He came upon this guy. And Jesus asked him what has turned out to be one of my most favorite questions in all of Scripture. One man was there. We read in John chapter 5, verses 5 to 6. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. That's a long time. 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there a long time, he said to him, do you want to be healed? We don't know how long this guy has been here, but he's been there for a long time. Sick for 38 years. We don't know. Perhaps 5 years here, perhaps 10 years, perhaps all 38 years, perhaps 20-something years, but he's been here for a long time. And as Jesus was walking around, he came to this feast in Jerusalem, and he went to this place here, this pool of Bethesda. Had a whole bunch of porches there, and a lot of sick people would sit here. And you notice that when we were reading, verse 4 is missing. Verse 4 says that for an angel of the Lord comes around from time to time at different certain seasons and stirs up the water, and whichever sick person is the first to get into that pool when the angel stirs it gets well. So there's only one chance, perhaps one chance in a year, one chance 3 months, whatever. That's, the odds are great. It's a lot of odds against this man. So Jesus comes along and sees him. Of all the people that we don't know if he went to all the other sick people there. I'm not sure he was the only sick person here, but Jesus came to him and says, do you want to get well? Do you want to be healed? Do you want to recover from your situation? Do you want to get out of your present trouble, whatever that is? Do you want to do that? I mean, the Lord asked him a straightforward question, a question that required a simple yes or no, and you will wonder, I wonder, why would the Lord ask such a question of someone who obviously must need help, must need to get out of this situation? Why would the Lord, why would you ask someone that kind of question? It seems like a redundant. It's like, duh, I'm here to get well. But the Lord asked that question, and the Lord doesn't speak. He doesn't just throw words around. He says something important. You see, it seems that this guy would want to get well. But you know one thing though, I thought about this question, and I preached on this before, and I thought about this question like, it's possible that having been sick for this long, perhaps this man has gotten used to and comfortable with being sick and helpless. That's a possibility. And we're not going to go too far to get to that truth, because even in our country today, in this nation, in Sacramento today, there's a whole bunch of people out there whom it seems like they've gotten so used to being in this helpless place, apparently helpless place, and sick and used to. Perhaps this guy had been, is used to just being here. Sickness is not a way of life, and I get pity. People are nice to me. They say, "Oh, so sorry, nobody's helped you." They throw me some crumbs here and there, and it's like somebody cares. Pitying him for being so helpless, so unlucky. Too bad nobody's helping you. Too bad that guy got in front of you. Whatever your conditions might be today, whatever your condition might be today, I believe the Lord is asking you today, asking you right now, do you want to get well? Do you want to be healed of it? Do you want to get out of this bad situation? Do you really want to get out of this situation? Or have you gotten so comfortable with it? Have you, to the point of just, oh yeah, I guess that's my thorn in the flesh. I guess that's my lot in life. I guess that's how it is. We're in the world and we can't live a life without trouble. I guess that's how it is. But God is asking you, do you want to get well? Do you want to be healed? Do you want to get delivered? Do you want to? Or are you getting some of the benefits from this situation? Some emotional, psychological benefits from being where you are? Satisfied? Maybe not, but at least getting satisfied by some other things that kind of left you in this place as a way of life. And I don't know what that is. And we're not talking about physical illness. It could be emotional stuff, could be relational stuff, could be whatever. Every one of us, we got stuff. We do. Jesus is asking you, do you want to get well? Do you really desire change in your life? Have you gotten so comfortable with this being the way you are? Oh yeah, nobody can help you. Yeah, it's true. You can't really get long-term help unless you desire that. Nobody can really help you unless you desire to get help. No one can bring about a sustained change in your life unless you too desire to have that kind of change. It's not going to happen unless you're ready to change or embrace change when you see it. You're just going to be there. That's why the Lord is asking you right now, do you want to get well? Because even if someone gave you, if you don't decide and someone gave it to you, it won't last because you can't own it. You can't own it. You can't value it. And to underscore everything that I've been saying about this man, to underscore my concerns about him, the reason that the Lord may have asked him this question, this man went on this blame game. He went on this self-absolution. Is like, it's not my fault. The fault is out there. The sick man in verse 7 answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up." In other words, it's not my fault. No one. Nobody's helping me. And while I'm going, another steps in before me. someone else's fault. No, hey, I'm not lazy. Trust me, I came here to be healed. I'm not lazy, but I just want to let you know it's not my fault. It's people out there, circumstances. So this guy proceeds to answer the wrong question. He's answering the wrong question. The Lord didn't ask why. Why haven't you done well? That's not the question. He says, do you want to get well? That's all he asked him. But the man is more interested in justifying his protracted condition. I have continued to be sick because nobody has helped me get in there. I continue to be in this place because as soon as I'm trying to get a little break in life, someone else cuts in front of me. So I just want you to know it's not really my fault. I'm not lazy. I'm still a Christian. I pray all the time. I do all that. But I just want you to know, just in case you're thinking I'm still sick because I'm lazy. That's not the question the Lord asked him. I would have gotten into the pool if I wasn't so lucky. If others hadn't gotten in front of me, I would have gotten in. I would have been healed. You wouldn't have seen me here. If only someone had helped me, I would have gotten into the pool long before now. It's not my fault. It's the other guy's fault, whoever they are. I mean, you would expect that a man who has been sick for this long, you would expect that a man who has been in trouble, hanging out here for a long time, who has had all these disadvantages, all these things against him, you would have expected that this guy would jump at it and say, well, I mean, it's like, what do you mean, do I want to get well? Can't you see? I mean, if he had been a little rude like that, I would be okay. You would expect that he would jump at any option, any hint of a possibility of him getting well. But that's not the question he answered. It's like he should have said, yes, I want to be well. But you know what? Being in this kind of bad condition for a long time, for any of us, being in that place for any of us for a long time could bring us to the place, could cause us to lose sight of what our real need is. Could cause us to lose sight of that, and we begin to focus on something else. We can confuse the real need. Your need, really, young man, your need is not about someone carrying you and putting you in there. Your need is not about being the first to get in there. Your need is to get healed, whichever way it happens. Your need is to get well. Your need is healing, restoration. That's all you need. It's not about who got in front of you. It's not about, who didn't help you or who helped you. No, I want to get well. I want to be delivered. I want to be saved. That should have been his response. But it's a little bit of a competition going on. What do you mean? I have nobody to help me. But Jesus is not in the blame game. He's not trying to enable your self-justification. He's not trying to enable you in your sense of helplessness. He wants to help you. He wants to deliver you. He wants to heal you. He wants to restore you. And Jesus went ahead and healed this man. He healed him. Jesus said to him in verse 8, get up, take up your bed and walk. Yeah, yes. Everything that you haven't been able to do for yourself, I'm doing for you right now. All the power that you never had before, I'm giving it to you right now. Everything that nobody has been able to do for you, I am doing it, but I'm still going to put you in charge of your life. You need to get up. You need to take up your bed. And you need to walk. I'm going to give you the power to do that. But you got to exercise that in faith and get up and start moving. That's what I'm giving you, the capacity to do everything you've never been able to do before. The capacity to do everything that nobody, your uncle didn't do, your father didn't do, your mom didn't do it. Perhaps they even messed things up for you. I'm not asking you about why you got sick. I'm not asking, I'll get to that. I'm not asking you why you have stayed here so long. I'm not asking you about that. I'm not asking about what happened in the past or who said what about you. I'm giving you power, a fresh, clean slate right now, reset for you to get going. Well, and the man took it. It says, at once he was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. See what the Lord has done? Remove this man's obvious obstacle. Give me a chance to live again. Give me a chance to get up and go fend for himself. Because it is possible sometimes that people get healed. People get, they get out of jail. But they like it so much back there. It's so hard to start living a new life here, a life of responsibility. I can't do it. Might as well do something so I can go back to jail. No, this is not a job. People do that. Because I got used to living in jail. That's what happened to the Israelites. God delivered them, got them out of Egypt, taking them to the promised land. They said, oh no, it's too much work. It's too much work being free. It's too much responsibility. Let's go back over there. We were eating onions and garlic over there. Hey, but you were in slavery. We can just go back there and eat our onions and garlic. It's comfortable. Slavery can be comfortable sometimes. They wanted to go back into slavery, even though God had set them free. And God has set this man free and says, get up, pick up bed, whatever you weren't able to do before, go get a job. Go do something for yourself. Stand upright on your feet, walk now, and take your responsibility as a human being. Start doing what I designed you to do. Chance to live, a chance to take responsibility for himself, because now you can't blame anybody. You can't blame the guy who got in front of you. You can't blame the other guy, faceless guys who didn't help you. Now you are in charge. Now you got life. Now you can walk. Now you can do whatever you want to do. I'm giving you life and strength to do that. Now get up and go do it. That's how you sustain a miracle. But that's not all. God, Jesus is going to address the attitude that's behind this behavior we're seeing here. There's an attitude behind the answer. This man's answer the Lord's question. It does hint at something deeper, a deeper obstacle. He left. Yes, Jesus, got into the crowd and left. So this guy he didn't know who it was. I healed him. But eventually he got in trouble for being healed. I mean, seriously? These Pharisees, man. He got in trouble for basically. Why are you carrying your bed on a Sabbath day? What's wrong with you? Hey, you should be rejoicing with me. I haven't been able to move around for 38 years. I just got well. Somebody just healed me. Just give me a new lease of life. And are you asking me that? Man, religion is dangerous. It's just, it's all about the law, not even mercy, not even empathizing with this guy. But they're not my topic today. I'm just going to leave him alone. Well, it's really so pathetic that they would be that way, concerned about our made-up laws and everything, instead of rejoicing with the man that God has just healed. But the unfortunate thing is that, he didn't do it deliberately, I guess, but he didn't even know who healed him. He didn't even know who it was that turned his life around. God does something for you sometimes. You don't even know that it's God. You got your attention in all the wrong places about who may have helped you, coincidental stuff, whatever that is. He didn't even know who it was that healed him. He was so excited he went away. He did not know that it was God. He didn't know that it was Jesus that did it for him. People are being blessed today. God is just gracing people out all over the place today, and they don't even know who is doing it for them. Couldn't stay back and acknowledge him. Just as we don't acknowledge God sometimes because we don't know that he's the one who did it. So now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn as there was a crowd in the place. Afterward, verse 14, afterward, Jesus found him in the temple. This is a big one. They saw this guy in the temple. He went straight to the temple. He could do the religious thing. He didn't go home. Straight to the temple. Go home and show yourself to your family. Oh, I gotta go to the temple. That's good. It's good. The house of God. It's a good place to be. But he got in trouble there. But there was still a problem even while he was going to the temple. There was still a problem. Jesus saw him in the temple and said to him, you gotta come to the temple all the time. No, that's not what he said. Now that you're well, you need to be coming to the temple all the time. No, that's not what Jesus said. Forget about all these externalities, all this external stuff. You're well now. What do you need to do so you can continue being well? Well, sin no more, that nothing worse may happen to you. Ouch. Really? Is that the root of this problem here for him? For this man? The Lord just nailed it. He nailed the man's issue right here. Sin was involved somehow. And I'm not in any way suggesting that anytime you're in trouble that sin is involved. For this man, for this particular man right here, sin was involved. Okay? Doesn't mean that any kind of trouble has its roots in personal sins. They all have their roots in sin, but not in personal sins necessarily. But for this man, sin was involved. The Lord is linking to his problem to his previous sinful behaviors. Perhaps he continued doing that even while he was there because he saw the attitude. It's about other people, not me. Blame them. This man has received God's miracle, but now that imposes a responsibility on him as well. Jesus said to him, hey, don't return to the former lifestyle if you want to sustain your health. Don't go back to where you were before if you want to continue being well. The onus is on you now to take charge, to take responsibility, to do what you need to do, to turn a new leaf, to do things right. Yes, this guy may have thought, oh, I'm just at the mercy of people. That's in the process. Nobody's helping me. Everybody gets ahead of me. Jesus says, I'm not, the process is one thing, but let's go back to the root of this problem. The root of the problem is sin. I don't know what it was, but obviously it suggests here that this man's condition came as a result of his sin. And Jesus is telling him, as he says to you today, that your enemy is not necessarily the people outside. Your real enemy is not necessarily your conditions, your circumstances today. Your real enemy might be the choices you're making or you were making, and that might be. You might indeed be your own worst enemy. And so many people get healed. They don't sustain that healing. God is still in the business of healing people today, but they don't sustain the healing by one thing or another. They stop praying, they stop believing God, they start confessing crazy stuff, and they don't change how they eat, and they still eat the same old thing they were eating before, do everything they were doing before. And God has said, look, turn around. Don't do that anymore. I've given you a reset. Don't go back and repeat the old behavior, the behavior pattern that got you in trouble in the first place. Don't go back repeating all that. We must choose a better path Because Jesus didn't save us to carry on with life as usual. He wants us to live a better quality life. I'm not just talking about spiritual stuff. Yeah, we got to pray. We got to do all the things, all our spiritual disciplines. We need to do that. But also, let's look at our lives. What kind of content do we put in our head? And I know I'm talking to a lot more people. What type of thing are you listening to? What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of stuff are you listening to? Who are you hanging out with? What type of food are you eating? Are you doing your exercises? I'm just getting really practical now. I'm talking to myself too. Are you doing your little exercises, your little stretches that you need to do to sustain your health? You eating well? My wife would ask you, are you taking your vitamins? Your fruits and vegetables? All this practical stuff. God is not going to do that for you. He's provided for you. He's giving you a chance to reset, to do things right. Are you still worrying and being anxious about everything, trying to control every circumstance? Are you still insisting on being right all the time? I mean, you don't want to ever give up your right to be right, it's got to be my way or the highway, and all of that counts against you in your relationships. And I mean, people have attributed this to Albert Einstein. He says something about the mindset with which we're going to solve the problems cannot be the mindset that we had when we got into trouble in the first place. I don't know if he said it or not, but people are saying he said that. A smart guy. That's why I'm quoting him. The time you got in trouble, you had a certain thought process. Now that you've met Jesus Christ and he's giving you a reset and your problem is going to be solved, you got to have a different mindset. Not only to promote your spiritual health, but also your physical health, but also your freedom from diverse bondages. Some Christians are still in bondage, even though they've been set free. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Therefore, do not get entangled again in the yoke of bondage, the Bible says. For this man, Jesus says, go. You're well now. Don't sin again. Don't go on sinning, or something worse will come to you. Seriously? Yeah, that's what Jesus said. Again, I want you to understand me. I'm not saying that whatever is wrong with you today has to do with sin. It could be just some bad habits. Could be negligence. Could be just something that you need to fix. I have stuff that I need to fix in my life. And I know you have stuff that you need to fix in your life. And God is waiting on you to start fixing it. Use the power, the intelligence, and the blessings that I've given you. Use those and fix that problem. I'll be with you. So a question for you is this. What behavior pattern is keeping you from sustaining the impact of your miracle? What behavior pattern do you have? Or some people say, I have anger issues. Fix it. Jesus will help you take care of it. Come on. Don't make it a way of life. What is that that's keeping you from sustaining the impact of your miracle? I mean, your miraculous healing, your joy, your peace, your relationships. What is holding you back? You still praying? You still trusting the Lord? Still believing him? Having faith in him after the miracle? A woman was caught in adultery. Trust me, I'm about wrapping up. In John chapter 8. I mean, John just wrote about those kinds of stories. Caught in adultery and was brought to Jesus for sentencing, basically. So whatever Jesus says, we're going to do. If you say stone him, we're going to stone him, right? Stone her because she broke the law. We just want to know what you think. And the Lord didn't condemn her. And by some, Jesus asked him one question. He says, all right, let's see if you have the moral freedom or justification to stone this lady. If you don't have any sin, then go ahead and be the first to throw the stone. That's all he needed to say. That's all. And they all snuck away. They had no moral right to condemn her either, because they too had sin. They had sin in their lives, and they couldn't judge a fellow sinner. And Jesus, we read in John chapter 8, 10 to 11, it says, Jesus stood up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now, hide from everyone." Nope. Do it discreetly. Nope. Oh, I understand why you're doing it. I understand why. Let's get some psychological counseling or whatever for you so you can stop doing this thing. That's not what happened. Jesus basically says, you are not helpless. And even if you were now, I'm giving you the power to no longer feel helpless, to go out and help yourself, do things right. Go. And from now on, sin no more. Is it possible? Yeah, it is possible to sin no more. That's why Jesus said that to her. Take charge of your life now. Take responsibility. Don't let someone else always be running around trying to catch you and doing something bad. No, be your own judge, so to say. Sin no more. Put responsibility right where it is. It's your choice. If you want to continue living like this, it's your choice. But if you want to change, it's a choice too. I'll give you the power to do that. Do not do the same, repeat the same behavior. See, because the Lord didn't come to condemn, but to save the world by giving each one of us an option to choose freedom or continued bondage, to choose life or death. Here, the Lord has just liberated this woman. Think about that. I mean, she could have been killed. I mean, it's just that those guys, they just wanted to get the Lord in trouble. That's why they came to him. Otherwise, they could have stoned her out there. Yeah, she violated our law. I don't know where the guy is, but, got to deal with the lady here. The guy probably snuck away, but they got a lady, and so he caught her, like as if, yeah, one person commits adultery. But anyway, so they could have killed her. Just because, I mean, God just did it. They brought her to Jesus, a good and righteous and gracious judge. And he did not condemn. The legalistic accusers wanted to kill, but Jesus liberated her. Her only chance at life again was being brought to Jesus. But the story doesn't end there. The responsibility is on her now to make a better choice from here on, to turn a new leaf and do things right. Yes, at the first time she was at the mercy of these people. We don't know what got her into this lifestyle. We don't know why she was in adultery. And Jesus is not interested in knowing why. Jesus is only interested in, she's like, look, now that I have given you I've reset your life basically. I'm giving you a second chance. Go and do something better. Be responsible for your life. Don't let these people, these accusers, don't let them run your life for you. Don't let all the external stuff run your life for you. Take charge. And that's the same thing that Jesus is saying to you today. Take charge of your life. I've saved you. I've given you a chance to do something new. Go home and don't repeat the same old behaviors. Go home and be a child of God. Go home and put your trust in me. Go home and be my representative. Go home and kick those habits you have. If you lack the power to do it, you come to me, I'll help you. I'm going to help you get out of that. The life after the miracle, living beyond the miracle. God says to you, my miracle was a reset for you. Now you have a chance to go back and do something right. Make some better choices. Get out of bondage. Get out of that slavery, old slavery. Get out of that habit of fear and anxiety and worry. Get out of that. Don't do that anymore. Don't do any of those things anymore, because I'm here. I'm here for you. Go on trusting me, and I will ensure that you enjoy your miracle and sustain the benefits of that miracle in your life. Father, thank you so much for your word. I pray that you bless your people, cause that the word has sense, makes sense for each of us. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for reminding us. Thank you for blessing us, oh God. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.